In 48 hours, we'll be celebrating the 56th anniversary of our political independence. And I've got a fantastic offer for anyone watching Sunrise between today and Wednesday, and that's, well, more than 56 tickets. And all you have to do is just stay tuned and watch and listen to what my guests are going to be asking you, so that you can earn yourself a couple of complimentary tickets to a concert at the stadium that will feature 56 of our top artists. But right about now, I want to find out if we can unite around a simple idea, the idea of road safety. And well, in the course of our efforts to tackle this problem, we've searched far wide, spoken to people that have been air traffic controllers, MTT personnel, National Road Service personnel. Well, a man came forward and said, look, in my industry, safety is really important, and that is in the maritime industry. My guest, Mr. Achu Vonwa, is a maritime consultant, and he specializes in safety. Everything safety when it comes to sea vessels or the maritime industry. And he says that there are some simple design solutions that we can apply in order to improve the safety of our roads, in particular when it comes to the number of pedestrians that keep getting knocked down along our streets and highways and roads and motorways. Good morning and welcome to Sunrise, Mr. Achu. Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you.
And I'm fascinated by the care that you've shown for the topic, considering that you are mostly a specialist in marine transportation, waterway transport, but you think that it's no different when it comes to safety from transport by road. Explain this to me.
You see, when it comes to the modes of transport, we have the water, the road, the rail, the air, and pipeline. Pipeline is not used mostly here. The air, the water, that is the sea, are safer than the road.
Well, are you sure?
I am.
It's safer to get into a fisherman's canoe than to get into a trotro.
By far.
You're safer in the canoe than in the trotsky?
By far.
Or in a taxi?
By far.
What about the Yutong bus? Metro Transit?
By far.
You're safer in a canoe?
Yes.
Explain this to me. How come?
You see, many of the accidents that come on our road, 80% is attributable to the human errors. Either the pedestrian or the person in charge, that is the driver. Now, I did transport all modes. One day I was driving on the Wakabush road, and there was a guy who crossed the road. I nearly hit him. And I stopped and I asked him, my friend, why are you risking your life? And he begged me and he said, say, that thing over there I cannot climb. And I asked him why. He said, I am afraid of height. Anything 2-3 feet I go up, I become dizzy. So I started researching into it, and I found out I travel widely. You know, I schooled in the Scandinavia, and when you go to Copenhagen, they have a wider street, and you won't see overhead. They're all tunnel or underground.
Underpasses?
Yes.
What's the advantage?
It has many advantages.
Cost advantage?
Yes.
It's cheaper to build a tunnel than to build an overhead bridge?
No, when you are building the road, it's cheaper, but when you have built the road, it's more expensive too. It's like the Calais Dover underwater passage between UK and France. We have equipment that can borrow, but when you are building a road, that one you can set it up into it. If you look at the Takitaria highway, you see the way the bridges have been done, the same thing. And then I went to talk to the urban road some time ago when they were constructing. Asked them that if it is a highway, why do we have crosses all over? I'm sure you know about the Beltway in the US, then the Autobahn in Germany, then the G road in UK. They are all highways, no interruption. You are doing 50, 100 kilometers an hour, and all of a sudden you have to brake. If you are not very attentive, you can cause accident. Your car can even turn over. You know, so I went to talk to them. When I went to talk, they said I should go to the highways. I walked to the highways. I even wrote a letter. Nobody cared. The American who was constructing this said it was the government that made them to do that. And I said, why? We know the right thing. But you see, in this country, we all share our shirts. When it comes to glory, everybody wants to put on the coat. When it is something criminal, you won't find anybody accepting.
But can I ask you one question, Mr. Vonwa? The roads that you mentioned, like the chaussées in Russia, the autobahns in Germany, the ones, the M2s, M25s in the US, the belt in the UK, the highways or the beltways, and the what are the toll roads called? Turnpikes.
Yes.
In the US, they don't have any kinds of crossings, so they do they?
No. See, if you have observed, all the highways are outside the city. You see, when the motorway was built in the early 60s, there were no the houses at the two ends, and everybody was driving in. Now, remember, there was a time President Rawlings had an accident because somebody was crossing. The highways are supposed to be things that people will run. I mean, you are doing 80, 90, 100, and then all of a sudden there's a zebra crossing. What would you do if you are not attentive? You crash.
We don't have zebras here. We have pedestrians, goats, and chickens. But it's just to make light of a very serious topic. What do you think the solution is? Again.
Yeah, you see, when you look at the overpass, the physically challenged cannot climb. So what happens to them? The blind cannot climb. Those in the wheelchairs cannot climb. The old and the aged, they cannot climb. And one time, I always observe, I saw the children hanging on some of the barristers, and it's all very unsafe. Now, if you have the underpass, it's easy. And what I saw in Copenhagen was that they have made malls so that bugging is eradicated. They pass under. The only thing you have to make sure, because of our climate, water, that it rains, it doesn't get flooded. That is all.
We have one example of that in Ghana, don't we? And it's underneath the motorway.
Yes.
The Accra Tema motorway.
That was even not supposed to be. It was for cattle.
It's a cattle underpass.
And I've been wondering for the past. Always ask these people, if you are using it as an underpass, why don't you? Normally, when you go through the Bachona, you see a lot of cars. Kwame Nkrumah made it, so we should have added another one in and out. Now you go somebody with a flag, red flag. They are not even officially employed. They come down there to help us. You know, so our thinking is the problem in this country. When the thing falls on our lap, that is all.
Interesting. What do you think we can best do to address the situation? Because you said you even wrote a letter to
the highways. I was there myself.
To highways, and
yes.
You didn't get a response.
Nobody. I gave it to a recipient. Who the recipient gave it to, I don't know. A similar thing happened in Tema, where I work, the Fishing Harbour Road. They were trying to construct the road, and I went to the people and I said, look, you know, we have the trotted and taxis, they stop, so give them a place where they can. Nobody bothered. You see, nobody cares. The problem in this country is that when it comes to doing business, the officials, when the contract is signed, they sit down there hoping the contract will be executed. But we must have very good supervisors. Those days when there was PWD, the people will go to the site every day. When I see people going to site in suit, I ask myself, what are these people going to do? Just look around. Because if there is something that you have to get into, you will not be able to do it.
Okay, let's see what our guests are saying. Because we have a large viewership that are able to interact with us via the internet. Now, Nana Kwame Oxygen One Danso, and she says that the issue of road safety is a collective responsibility, but we seem to believe it's a one-man or one-driver responsibility. Let's conform to common sense rather than laws. I think he's saying that, okay, very well, so our roads have certain design flaws or certain design characteristics, if you will, but those who use the roads, both the pedestrians and the passengers and the drivers, have the onus of their own safety on them first before anyone else. In other words, if we think safety, we will have safety. Never mind the design of the roads. What would you say to that?
That is not correct. You see, in every situation, there's the user and then the producer. Now, if you want to make a car for me and I'm disabled, you know, there are people without legs who drive cars. Why? They go to the designers and tell them that I don't have legs, so this is the way I want to shape it. You want to provide something for the community, so you must look at the details of the community. Are you telling me that the people who are blind should not cross the Wakabush Road? You should have thought of it, gone to the community, what the leader said, what do we do? But here, it's like when we were young, Your father will take you to the market and buy a school dress for you. They won't even measure you, just put it to, because they said you go into it. That shouldn't be the case.
Well, let's see how many of our viewers agree. In the beginning of my conversation with Uncle Achu, he put forward a very interesting idea. He said that our marine ways, whether you're talking about the super large vessels or you're talking about the humble fishermen's canoes, are much safer than our roads. Would you agree or disagree with that? Would you think that you are safer in the sea with a canoe with some fishermen than you are on the road? Come to think about it, you don't often hear about, well, canoes and vessels crashing into each other or running over things or running into objects. That's quite rare. And I'm sure that there's something that we can learn. But then again, the sea is one big place, right? The waterways, they're huge, Uncle Achu. They're not as narrow and confined as our roads, and you certainly don't go that fast, and there isn't so much traffic. Is it really a fair comparison to make?
Now, if you go to the English Channel, the traffic is like the roads around here. You see ferries and boats crossing, but we all go according to the regulations. Every ship every year has to be examined for safety. Now we have what you call port state control. If you go into a port and your ship is invalid, no problem, they will, but you must make amend before you leave. And normally when you are going for insurance, you must make sure that all the defects are amended, you know. Unlike when you go on the road right now, you see a car going, even the police cars, you see them blowing smoke. Nobody complains. But on the ship, no. The inspectors in every port, the moment your ship can, they come to examine your certificate to see that everything is okay. And you see, when it comes to canoe, it's unfortunate the insurance people haven't looked at this. One of the most safest thing, it doesn't sink. It can only capsize, and then when you have life jacket, you just jump back onto it. But when you talk to them, they say, well, the risk is okay, but that is another matter. You know, waterways are things that we can use in this country. I remember I was talking to, I used to work with cocoa products, you know, and one of my colleagues, they said they had cocoa locked up in their hinterland. And I said, why do you have cocoa locked up in there? There are waterways. So I said, no, build a barge, put the cocoa into it, pull it to a safer place, and then when you go to the US, the Mississippi people, you see.
That's what they do with timber, with everything.
Yes.
Some interesting points you're making, Mr. Achu. And I'd like to tell you that this morning I will open the phone lines. It's 0302-763470. You can call in and have a chance to speak directly to my guest or to me or to both of us. Perhaps, just share your thoughts and ideas. Serious challenge being thrown to the GPRTU and everyone that's responsible for our road transportation. Mr. Achu Fomowa is an expert in maritime safety. He's a maritime consultant. He says that, well, our waterways, even in the ocean offshore, are much safer than our roads and our land transportation, and it's given reasons why, plus giving us some good ideas as to how we can tackle the challenges that we have in front of us when it comes to road safety. Once again, the number to call is 0302, so it's a landline, 0302 763470 763470. Pardon me for that slip. 763470. It's a landline, so the prefix is 0302. Interesting. And you say that it's actually cheaper to build an underpass than to build an overpass at the time of construction. Going back to what you said about it being difficult for people in wheelchairs and so on and so forth to access, the one at the Kwame Nkrumah roundabout, now that's more like a ramp, it's not a staircase. So I suppose that would be a good example when it comes to cost comparison. Is it a fact though that it is cheaper to build a tunnel and even include space for shops on each side, like you'd find in some countries, than to build an overhead crossing in our conditions?
Have you been to the new overpass?
Yes.
What is the use of it now? It's dilapidated. Now when you look at the one in front of the Kaneshi, you see the way it is. They are selling everywhere because here, free for all, everybody wants everything free. So the people are selling on the sidewalks. Now if you have these underpass, they are designated shops, and you can't just walk there and tell that you are selling. No. If we want to do it, yes, maybe for posterity's sake, it will be cheaper because cost keeps on rising. When they were also, when you go to some of the Abekala Pass, you see cars crossing. There should have been an overhead pass so that the cars get over and then those people down, ride over. But I don't know.
Could it be that we don't have the technology, or our soil type makes it very difficult to dig tunnels?
Eric,
okay,
it's the human beings.
It's the human beings. Okay, we've got the human beings online with us, and Nana is joining us from Asamankisi. Good morning, Nana. Can you hear me?
The place is Ukrapi.
Hello?
Hello?
Hello. Your name and where you're calling from, please.
My name is Nana calling from Ukrapi.
Bokwasi. Okay. Nana, you're on air. What would you like to share with us?
Hello?
You are on air, Nana. What would you like to share with us?
Hello?
Can you hear me, Nana?
But it seems like you can't hear me clear.
I hear you loud and clear. Please go ahead. Okay, looks like road safety is not our only challenge. Sorry for interrupting you with that. You think that it's the people?
No, it's the people. We have brilliant people with PhD and all this, but sitting down to work is the problem. About 10 years ago, there were some Dutch retired experts who were brought into this country. What for? Because they wanted to sell their knowledge to help us. We have the people, but sitting down to work is the problem. Eric, you see, look at this water and then the electricity. About 4 or 5 years ago, Tamale had 4 pumps. One got broken, second, third, fourth. My engineers were telling them that if they were in my unit, I would have sacked them. I said, yes, I would have sacked you. Why? Because the first one got broken down, you didn't care. The second, but we have engineers there. And you remember just when the president visited the Wager, waterworks, these people said it was going to take 6 months. Now they are able to do it.
There was a backlash to the president's pointed statement that most of our accidents, according to statistics, are due to human error.
Yes.
And most of the drivers, said, well, it's not us. We've got another caller. This time it's a lady, Abigail, calling us from Botiano. Good morning, Abigail.
Good morning, Eric. My question is the pedestrian walk also for vehicles to park? Because in the evening, if you want to take a stroll, you will get to find out that private cars have been parked on the roadside. And I want to find out if the cars are parked at the roadside, where will the pedestrians have to walk without passing through the main road? Where will we pass when the cars are parked there?
Excellent question. I suppose you couldn't do that in any port. You couldn't just come and park your vessel or berth your vessel anywhere you want.
No. You see, if you go to Takrady, you see that when you go to the market circle, they have been able to demarcate the place. When you park, you pay a fee. In Accra, it's free for all.
So it's once again, it's the individuals.
Yeah, that not the individuals. You see, the human being all over the world. I have always challenged people. When I was studying one time, a white man told me that Africans were crooks, and I said, "What do you mean?" And I said, "Do you have prisons in your country?" He said, "Yes." I said, "What do you use it for?" He said, "I have for prisoners." I said, "From where?" You see, it's a general thing. God, in His wisdom, gave good, bad, and the worst to every country. But if we don't harness it properly, but I mean, the whole thing is that I was telling somebody that if you had the people in the various industries, the engineers working on the ship, all the ships will sink. Because on the ship we are supposed to have mandatory 2 generators, but everybody makes sure that he has an extra one, so that in case that any of the 2 or the 2 concap, you have a way to because of the discipline. And the certificate of the marine engineer is called proficiency. It is not yours. The moment you misconduct yourself, they will withdraw it.
Interesting comments coming from our guest, Senator Kwame, Oxygen One, Danso Anansi. He's changed his tone a little bit. He says our guest is giving a practical approach and solution to road safety. Honestly, writes Nana Danso Anansi, I appreciate your time with us. Thank you, sir, for coming on our show. Indeed, thank you for coming on our show. And it's really nice for you to think of this show as your show. It is your show. It's our show. I've got a call. I can take one more. Good morning, Zachariah. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning. Thank you very much for coming on our show. What would you like to share with us?
It appears most of our leaders don't take into consideration the fact that they are the people leading us. Okay, so they have to be the ones to put in the laws, to put in the directions and everything for us. They can't do all those things by ourselves. So you go on the road, there's a road at this 37 road. Okay, before the traffic light, right before the traffic light, there's a zebra crossing. Okay, a few meters before the traffic light. And I don't see how they expect drivers to stop right before the zebra crossing and then go to the traffic light and also stop there for people to cross. Okay, the best thing to do is leave the traffic light there without the zebra crossing. Everybody should cross the road at the traffic. Every pedestrian should go there, take your time, and then cross the road at the traffic light. Not cross the road at the zebra crossing, another is crossing at the traffic light. Who is expected to stop? See, we don't have patience. We are all human beings, like you said. We all have faults. See, and we are very impatient when it comes to running around to work and going here and there. We are all impatient. So we are not directed to go here and stop here, and cross the road here, so the driver cannot stop there for you to cross. There's another at 37 right before the traffic light. There's this metal there which is broken, and you see find people running across the street from there to cross the road instead of going to the traffic light. You see, so I wonder why they can't take these things into consideration, make sure everything there is properly checked, people cross the road at the right places. That's all. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Zakaria. Felix I agrees with you. He says the road is way too dangerous. We've been talking about road safety for a while now on Sunrise and other platforms. Do the highway authorities even watch or listen to us? Abigail, you posted the same question about pedestrian walkways and the main roads. Emmanuel Chebafo, you disagree? You think both are dangerous? Both the waterways and our road networks are dangerous. Abdul Karim Jafar Banbata, you say, why don't Ghanaians try to educate pedestrians and drivers on road signs? Hakim Ibrahim Asamoah, you write to us from Kenya News saying that you would agree with the man if the people in the boat know how to swim proper. We're not talking about just the people in the vehicle, the boat. We're talking about the people that are outside, pedestrians that keep getting knocked down. Think about it. If you decided to go for a swim in the river or in the sea, or even if you like to go out to sea on a little sea scooter or in a canoe, you'd probably be thinking of coming back completely safe. Well, it doesn't look like the statistics of accidents can be compared to those on the roads. Well, I wonder why that is. Given practical approaches and solutions to road safety, and you say that it's all about the people. It's not about the people who are on the roads, not about the people who are in the vehicles. It's about the people who are tasked with the job of designing our transportation networks. Has it always been this way? Have you always thought that we are not doing well enough, all the way back to before our independence, during our independence, immediately after our independence, or is it something that you would say has happened quite recently?
See, I see with the upsurge of people and education is that everybody is reaching for money. So we don't care about the little things. There was a captain of a ship. He said he doesn't care about big trouble. It's small trouble. And I asked him why. And he asked me whether I know the valve of a car tire. Then I kept quiet. Because when your valve is leaking, your tire can't be pumped. You know, we look at small things. When you are going to construct something for a community, you need to have the consent of the community to find out how you can integrate the whole thing into it. But in this country, no. They build roads, and even the chief don't know who is building a road.
Okay, well, here's a point. Baba Sani thinks that it's a nice topic we've raised this morning, and may God Almighty have pity on us. I thought he was going to thank God Almighty for the producer and the guest this morning, but he says, have pity on us with Ghana drivers. And Felix I says, talk about creating road tunnels, then we're rather creating a sleeping place for our hawkers and street children. So much problem in my country, Ghana.
No, you see, they said success without a successor is labor wasted. You waste your time doing everything, and then it's like you build a hospital and your children don't want to be doctors. What have you done? You see, when we are building this thing, we should look at people, because the people are the most important element on the planet. You can bring our system up, as you are doing, you must be able to make sure